The doctor XY that's on here, this is part 2 by the way, the doctor XY that's on here stands for domain and range. We've already talked about domain and range. Domain is the X values, range is the Y values. It's easy for lines that have no breaks in them. The domain is all real numbers. And that's for the domain, and that's for the range, all real numbers. So if I ask you for the domain and range for a line that's continuous, it's all real numbers. So here we go. I want you to practice this. Try to graph this using the X and Y intercept. X-intercept again is where Y equals 0. And the Y-intercept is where X equals 0. So you put those numbers into the equations. You try this one, you try this one, and then I also want you to try this one. Alright, see you in a bit. Okay, let's check the X-intercept. You should have gotten the coordinate point 1, 0. Make sure you understand that this is the X-intercept, and this is the Y-intercept. Right. Example 4, yes, that's correct. How do you know? Just plug in those 0 values for X and for Y and you got it. Okay, this one I probably shouldn't have had you try it, but you can try it, and if you did, hopefully you learned some things. So you might want to change it, maybe not, I don't know. So here's what I do when I have these tables that I have to graph. And the f of x again means that x equals something. Whatever number is here goes right there. So what I do when I have a blank graph like this is I just go and put in these numbers in general, because those are the easy numbers. They're the easiest numbers to ever to use. 0 plugged in is good. Okay, so then f of -2 is what would happen next, because x equals -2 right there. So I'm going to take the x out of this, and I'm going to put in a -2. And when I do that, I get -2 from my y value. So f of x just equals a y. So when you see that, that's all that means. So f of -1 equals 2 times -1. F just means the function of 1 plus 2. So this equals 0. This is f of 0 equals 2 times 0 plus 2. So this equals 2. And then we get 4, and then we get 6. So now I can go and create some coordinate points using those numbers. X value is -2, y is -2, -1, 0. This one is 0, 2. This one is 1, 4. And this is 2, 6. So you just make coordinate points out of the x value and out of the y value. Then you go and plot each of those points, -2, -2, -1, 0, 0, 2, well, -1, 0, sorry, it's the end of the day, I told you that before. Okay, 1, 4, and then 2, 6 will be somewhere up here. So now we have a graph of that line. So could we have made a table for the ones in example 3 and 4? Oh, the domain and range. I didn't do that either. So the domain is every number under the sun, all real numbers. That's another symbol for that. The R with the double line. The range is all real numbers. Could we have made a table for these? We could have, but we would have had to switch everything around. So 2x plus 5y equals 10. We would have to subtract 2x from both sides. You get 5y equals -2x plus 10. And then divide every single term by 5, everything. And then we could have gotten y equals -2 fifths x plus 2. So this and this are identical to each other. They're just different forms. Okay, the special ones. Hoivux. Hoi. Hoi stands for horizontal. O stands for 0 slope. And we'll do more with this next time. And Y stands for Y equals. V stands for vertical. U stands for undefined. X stands for X equals. So Hoy Vex helps you remember slope, but helps you remember the equation that goes with this. So a horizontal line would be something that goes through the y-axis like that. It has a 0 slope, and the equation of this one is y equals 1. On the other hand, if I have an x equals 1, it's going to go through the x-axis with a vertical line, and it would look like that. So Hoy helps you remember which one is horizontal. V, Vux, helps you remember that x is vertical. All right, did you pay attention to what a 0 is? Do you remember? Earlier I said a 0 was an x-intercept. Well, at an x-intercept, it's just another word for it. It has to do like with the height of things. If I'm talking about a ball going up in the air, coming back down, when it hits 0 height, this is our height and this is time. 0 height happens right here. That's why we call it a 0. But it applies to a lot of things. Okay, so x-intercept for this one means that y equals 0. Well, this one has a f of x with it. But wait a minute. I did tell you, though, that f of x equals y. So I could change that to this. So this is 0 equals 1/2 x plus 3. And really, another way to write this is f of x equals 0. Both of those mean the same thing. So now I'm going to flatten out that 2 by multiplying everything by 2. I get 0, 1x, 6. Kind of a slick little trick there, right? Take away 6. You get negative 6 equals 1x. So x equals negative 6 is where the 0 is. Coordinate point is negative 6, 0. Done. And that's the end of this lesson.